At the end of the day, even when we can't wrap our head around what God is doing, He is a just God. He is always fair, never unfair. His decisions He makes, the judgment He brings is all just and fair, and He makes no mistakes. Hello, my beautiful family. Welcome back to my channel. First of all, do you like my tree? Put it up before Halloween, but I was way too excited. We had to. But thank you so much for joining me again. We are still in the book of Isaiah. We are on chapter 13 now, I believe, and it's just been so fun to be with you guys each week and just dive into this Bible study. Now, Isaiah has a lot of chapters, so we're going to be here for a while, but it's still super fun to dig into it with you guys and just learn more about this. And if you're new, hello. I'm so happy to meet you. My name is Payton, and I'm just glad you're here. I'm glad we can go through this Bible study together, invite Jesus into the space, and have a great time. But if you'd like to join the family, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that bell so you never miss an upload. Okay, this one is a decent length. I'm just going to read the whole thing. It's a little long, so if you want to follow along, once again, we are in Isaiah 13, and I'm just going to go ahead and read it for us. A pronouncement against Babylon. A pronouncement concerning Babylon that Isaiah son of Amoz saw. Lift up a banner on a barren mountain. Call out to them. Signal with your hand, and they will go. Through the gates of the nobles I have commanded my consecrated ones. Yes, I have called my warriors who celebrated my triumph to execute my wrath. Listen, a commotion on the mountains, like that of a mighty people. Listen, an uproar among the kingdoms. Like nations being gathered together, the Lord of armies is mobilizing an army for war. They are coming from a distant land, from the farthest horizons. The Lord and the weapons of his wrath to destroy the whole country. Wail, for the day of the Lord is near. It will come as destruction from the Almighty. Therefore everyone's hands will become weak, and every man will lose heart. They will be horrified. Pain and agony will seize them. They will be in anguish like a woman in labor. They will look at each other, their faces flushed with fear. Look, the day of the Lord is coming, cruel with rage and burning anger, to make the earth a desolation and to destroy its sinners. Indeed, the stars of the sky and its constellations will not give their light. The sun will be dark when it rises, and the moon will not shine. I will punish the world for its evil, and wicked people for their iniquities. I will put an end to the pride of the arrogant, and humiliate the insolence of tyrants. I will make a human more scarce than fine gold, and mankind more rare than the gold of Ophir. Therefore I will make the heavens tremble, and the earth will shake from its foundations, at the wrath of the Lord of armies. On the day of this burning anger, like wandering gazelles and like sheep without a shepherd, each one will turn to his own people, each one will flee to his own land. Whoever is found will be stabbed, and whoever is caught will die by the sword. Their children will be dashed to pieces before their eyes, their houses will be looted, and their wives raped. Look, I am stirring up the Medes against them, who cannot be bought off with silver, and who have not desired for gold. Their bows will cut young men to pieces. They will have no compassion on offspring, and they will not look with pity on children. And Babylon, the jewel of the kingdoms, the glory of the pride of the Chaldeans, will be like Sodom and Gomorrah when God overthrew them. It will never be inhabited or lived in from generation to generation. A nomad will not pitch his tent here, and shepherds will not let their flocks rest there, but desert creations will lie down there, and owls will fill the houses. Ostriches will dwell there, and wild goats will leap about. Hyenas will howl in the fortresses, and jackals in the luxurious palaces. Babylon's time is almost up. Her days are almost over. All right, so that's a lot of intense imagery here, a lot to kind of take in, kind of a lot that's hard to understand. So let's kind of dive into this. So first of all, this is more of God speaking to his people. And Babylon was a wicked nation. It was a nation just filled with evil. And so this is God right here saying that he's a just God. He has promised his people that there will be punishment against wicked and evil people and nations. And here he's showing his people that he is just. At the end of the day, even when we can't wrap our head around what God is doing, he is a just God. He is always fair, never unfair. His decisions he makes, the judgment he brings is all just and fair, and he makes no mistakes. But for us, that's kind of hard. We're like, oh, that's kind of harsh. Like, all this stuff's going to happen to Babylon, but it's all, like, they deserve it, you guys. They were sinful. They're wicked. They're hurting other countries, and this is what happens. It's also God ensuring Israel and Judah, that he wasn't singling them out, that he's going to bring judgment on all these nations that have been wicked, that he wasn't just singling out and judging these one people, but that all these sinful nations are going to face this judgment. So all of this being described, this has been planned out decades before. It is an army of judgment, kind of describing what is going to come, Lord and the weapons of his wrath to destroy the whole country. But the thing is, throughout all of this, you guys, God is protecting his people. It's not his good, loving people who are being destroyed. It's the ones who chose Satan over God, who decided to live out their own lives without God and decided to hurt all these other countries and do all these terrible things. So it's destruction from the Almighty. And when it says in verse 9, look, the day of the Lord is coming, this is Isaiah's prophecy of judgment against Babylon, as well as the judgment we all know is going to come at the end days, the final judgment days. So the goal here we see is to make the earth a desolation and destroy its sinners. So it's like a cleansing from Babylon. And basically we see here, so before Jesus comes back, basically the entire world is going to be falling apart. It's going to be dark, the sun's not going to shine, the sky and its constellations will not give their light, it's going to be dark and all these things. And when it says in verse 11, I will punish the world for its evil and wicked people for their inquiries. So this is Babylon, but this is also the whole world. This is what we're going to see when Jesus does come back. Those who have not decided to accept Jesus as their Lord and Savior and have decided to turn against God and to denounce God are going to see some pretty scary things. But the thing is, I've told you guys this tons of times, is Jesus wants every single one of you guys to be saved. Each and every one of all of us, everybody on the earth is a child of God. And it's their decision and their free will to decide to accept Jesus as their Savior and accept Jesus as what they've done. So we all get the choice to do so, which is crazy to think about. So like everybody, when Judgment Day comes, has the opportunity to have followed Jesus this whole time. And then we see here that the power against God, there is no power greater than Jesus. When we see here, it says, therefore I will make the heavens tremble and the earth will shake from its foundations at the wrath of the Lord armies on the day of this burning anger. So we can trust God more than anything else. He can literally make mountains move. He can do all of these things. He can shake the earth at its foundations. And we see as it goes into verse 14 that it's basically saying that no one can escape God, no one can escape God's wrath and God's judgment. And we see in verse 17 when it's talking about stirring up the Medes, this is a group of people who have attacked Babylon before. So basically similar to the same thing is going to happen. There's going to be these terrible attack and people that are going to come, and this is the judgment from God before. That's what they're describing. And like Sodom and Gomorrah, there's going to be complete destruction, and it's describing here that this destruction is because of Babylon's own moral decisions. Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed because of their decisions to sin and live out a sinful lifestyle. So that is why they were destroyed. And then we see in verse 20, it will never be inhabited or lived in from generation to generation. So never again will there be anyone that's against God. There's going to be no evil. So basically when Jesus comes back, there's going to be no one to inhabit it from generation to generation that does not believe in Jesus. And then we see this weird stuff going on at the end of like these hyenas and ostriches. And this is just the darkness and confusion that's going to be happening when Babylon is judged. I even think when Jesus comes back, there's going to be a lot of darkness and confusion in the world because there's evil. And that's honestly some of the things that are happening right now. I obviously have no idea when Jesus is going to come back, but we are seeing a lot of confused and dark people right now. But what do we take away from this chapter? Wisdom from this, wisdom to know that God is just, that this judgment is not unfair. And I think just to pray for the evil. We know there's evil all over. We know it's a scary time and everything. So just praying for that. Praying for people who are going through these evil times, people who are choosing evil over Jesus, just praying for that, praying for them. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We still have a lot of chapters left of Isaiah, and if you haven't caught up to where we are, I have a whole playlist with all of our Isaiah videos, so if you want to go watch those, go right on ahead. But I love you guys. I hope you have a blessed week, a great week, that you keep Jesus at your center, and I love all of you, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!